Is the way you're building your business right now actually aligned with you? Hello, and welcome back to the Aligned Founder Podcast. I am your host, Taylor. Here, I guide founders, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders toward growing a business that's aligned with who they are and rooted in real connection with the right people. So go ahead and get a little cozy, maybe grab a drink, light a candle, and get settled in because we're about to go deeper. Hey, welcome back, you guys. I am so happy that you are here joining me today. This is an episode that I've been really excited to get into because I am able to show you what I believe alignment looks like between you and your business and how overconsumption with social media, advice, hot takes, tips, and tricks affects that relationship between you and your business. There's research out there that proves overconsuming other people's content negatively affects your ability to trust your own instincts. And I think about it constantly in the context of building a business because we are swimming in that advice every single day. And at some point, all of that input and advice starts to drown out the one voice that actually matters, our own. And that's what today is about. So let's get right into it. So, a lot of founders and entrepreneurs are doing a lot of things right on paper, right? They are posting, showing up, trying to be consistent, paying attention to what's working, and still something feels off. It's, not necessarily broken off, but just enough that you notice it when you sit down and start trying to create content for your business. It's just off enough that you start to notice your message, feeling a little bit fuzzy. Like, it's not really hitting like it used to. It's just off enough that, your business feels maybe heavier than it should at times. And most people try to solve that feeling of offness by doing more, by adding more strategies, doing more content, having more tweaks, more consuming. But a lot of the time, what's actually happening is what I like to call drift. And drift can be very, very sneaky. It doesn't show up like some huge dramatic mistake, it shows up fairly small. You hear a new idea, you see somebody having success, you think maybe I should try that too. And before long, the decisions you're making aren't really yours anymore. They just become a collection of everything that you've been taking in. So, alignment to me is not some perfect state that you arrive at and never question again. It's a check in, one that you should be doing consistently. Like, it should be on the agenda every analytical review that you sit down for weekly or monthly, right next to your KPI numbers. Asking yourself, what did I build this for? What still feels true? What has changed? What do I need to look at before I keep going further? And the thing about that check in is it's feelings driven, not data driven, which is exactly why people never think to do it. Nobody puts how does this feel on a business agenda, but maybe we should. And I'm not saying ignore your numbers. Your revenue matters, your engagement, your signups, all of it matters, and you should be paying attention to it. But your numbers can only tell you so much of what's going on. It can tell you when a launch underperforms. So, what do? We end up blowing up the whole offer. When a video tanks, we overhaul the whole content strategy. A slow month hits, and suddenly we're doing whatever works for somebody else last week. These numbers become the only thing that end up making decisions for us. But your analytics will not tell you when your confidence is getting chipped away. They will not tell you when your message is starting to sound like everybody else, and they will not tell you when your own instincts are being silenced by the noise of other people in your space. That part is yours to notice. And a lot of founders, entrepreneurs, business owners skip this entirely because we are surrounded by so much input all the time that it gets harder and harder to tell what is actually ours. The advice, content, strategies, hot takes, frameworks. This worked for me. Do this instead. You should really be doing it this way. It is non freaking stop. And I know you guys feel it too. So, what do? Naturally, we start looking outside ourselves for answers faster than we would probably look inward. We start trusting what sounds successful online, what's being repeated, what gets the most attention. And I do this too. And it's not just with online spaces and strangers on the internet, it's with AI even. I use AI a lot to just brain dump into it and sort through my ideas, and that can be very, very helpful. But there is a cost when you rely on that too much and rely on outside input and advice too much. If every idea has to be ran through something outside of you before you can begin to trust it, eventually you are going to start losing confidence in your own voice. You stop believing in what you think until somebody can mirror it back to you to prove that it has worked for them. And there's actually research on this. The social comparison that we do online with each other than people who are showing their highlight reels online and how profitable their month was or how successful this launch was, that directly affects how clearly we see ourselves. The more that we're taking in what everybody else is doing, the harder it gets to hear our own instincts, our own voice. And I believe that because I've lived that and I'll probably continue to experience that throughout my entire life. So, this is how I started to notice it for me. One big thing about my framework and how I think business strategies should be built is through specificity and clarity. And I think a lot of people can agree on that. But I started, if you don't know, with the trades businesses. That lane for me made sense. My family owns a remodeling company, and I am the current marketing director there as my day job while I build this on the side. So that industry is something I've lived in for 20 years, and I know it like the back of my hand. I knew I could help those companies stand out and improve their message strategy. But then I started seeing what looked like success from other people, and I got pulled off course a little because I started thinking, maybe I could widen things and still make it work. Maybe I could not just limit myself to tradespeople, but I could do other service based industries or entrepreneurs and kind of where I am right now because I didn't see a lot of people in that specific lane working with those in trades. And I thought maybe branching out would give me more reach or more opportunity. Maybe the trades industry wasn't going to be as fruitful as I wanted despite knowing how much, support maybe that they would need to stand out because everyone knows when you go searching for a trades, provider for something that happened in your home, all the websites look exactly the same. Nobody stands out. And I've seen that. We've done that with my parents' company and we've evolved that to be different. And I want to be able to help those people do it too, other trades businesses. But I know in the trades business, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And so I started getting in my head that maybe I should branch out because I don't know, again, if it's going to be as fruitful as I thought. So for a minute, branching out felt fine. And then it started feeling a little muddy. I felt a little bit overwhelmed. I got a little harder on myself. I got harder to hear myself in the middle of all the advice I was taking in on trying to broaden my particular audience, my specific client I was looking for. And that little bit of self doubt, the kind of doubt that, lives under the fear of unknown. You don't really doubt yourself, but there's a doubt there because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if the decision you're making is going to be worth it type of doubt. But it began to make an appearance in how I structured my content and whether I hit publish or I let the draft sit there for 3 more days. And I started to pick up on that little bit of self doubt. I wondered where it was coming from because I am very confident in what I have to offer and what I can do and what I can share, the insights that I can share. And I realized this self doubt was because of all the extra noise of the people online shoving these sparkly new things down my throat that I felt like I needed to try to implement, which sparkly new things is my ADHD's kryptonite. Give me something new, a new task, and I am on it. So now I do a monthly internal check in. I sit down, I reflect on what happened that month, what felt good, what felt off, what I kept coming back to, what was I resisting, and what felt clear or what felt forced. Because if you don't stop and look at what has changed, that drift is going to stay hidden for a very long time. And the longer it goes unchecked, the easier it is to lose yourself in it. And look, the outside input wasn't bad and it isn't bad. That outside input helped me grow. It introduced me to new ideas. It made me think differently and it brought me here to this podcast. It brought me through the rebrand from the Message Architect Co. to the Aligned Founder Collective, which I introduced that in my trailer episode. This is only episode 2, so it's only been been 3 weeks and I've already rebranded. But because trades companies, I realized weren't really my purpose. I have more to give than limiting myself to that. And I wouldn't have realized that without that small drift. I have a passion for the trades industry, yes, but my soul's purpose is bigger than that. And I believe that drift is part of why I evolved the way I did. I grew, and without it, I wouldn't feel as clear as I do right now about where I'm headed. But I can't let that little evolution that occurred in the last month cloud the fact that all that advice that led me here also at some point started affecting my confidence. It started making it harder to tell the difference between what felt exciting and what actually felt aligned with me. And when I pulled back and got specific again, where I stopped trying to speak to everybody and got clear on who I was actually building this business for, something shifted. I had the same ideas mostly, but I was more confident in them. The self doubt got quieter because I wasn't guessing anymore and throwing sparkly ideas at the wall that weren't mine to begin with. And that, to me, is what coming back to alignment feels like. It's not some lightning bolt aha moment, it's just clarity and momentum that doesn't feel like you're dragging ass. If you feel like you are out of alignment with just yourself or your business, or maybe you're not connecting with your clients as well as you feel like you should be, I have a 30-step message alignment method that I have used for myself, my family's business, and other founders and entrepreneurs to be able to get clearer on what they're building and why. The link is going to be in the show notes. It is an interactive Notion workbook that you can just plug and play throughout each question. And it is deep inner reflection questions. I'm not adding more to your plate. I'm not trying to give you new strategies. I'm just asking the questions that you may have never asked yourself to see if you still are aligned with the goals and the purpose of your business. And if that is something that you are looking for support in, you can again grab it in the show notes. It is for free to download, and I hope it's useful. So, here is what I really want you to hear because I know some of you just probably realize that you've drifted, and it can kind of feel like a lot. It can feel a little bit heavy when you're like, oh shit, how do I get back there? How do I get back into alignment, right? You spent time going in this direction that ended up not panning out. You put energy into it. Maybe you invested a lot of freaking money. Maybe a piece of your confidence you haven't really fully gotten back yet after making these decisions. And part of you is like, you know what? I knew better. I I actually knew better than that. And I hear that. I've sat in that exact feeling, but I want you to know that drift doesn't mean that you failed. Drift means that you've just been influenced. That happens to all of us, and it's never not going to happen. But the real question is whether you notice it soon enough to do something with it. You're not making a mistake by trying new things. You are not failing by going toward what feels right in the moment and finding out it was a total flop. It's just how you figure out what actually works for you. Not by just reading about it, but by getting in there, getting your hands dirty, testing it, seeing where it takes you. Everything that didn't work out taught you something. It showed you what doesn't feel like you, where your confidence drops off, the version of your business that looks fine on paper but makes you not want to show up on Monday morning. That's not wasted time. That is useful information. And I want to be real with you. I'm new at this. I don't have a massive following. I haven't made millions from this business yet. I'm working on my manifesting. If you could subscribe, that would be one step closer. But I know that gives me a kind of grace right now that not everybody has. Pivoting early in the building stages of a business looks different than pivoting when 10,000 people follow you for a specific thing. And I know that. And if you are further along and this idea of pulling back feels a little bit terrifying, I'm not going to pretend I have the answer to do that. I don't know how to do that. I cannot guide you through it. But I guarantee you someone out there does. And I would highly suggest that you go find them. What I can do though is kind of help you see that the question is worth asking. That catching yourself in drift is not a reason to spiral, it's just the first step back into alignment. So, what does that actually mean for your business day to day? It means you don't have to panic every time something feels weird. Weird might just mean you're in a stretch. Weird might mean you're absorbing too much. Weird might mean you need to pause and sort through what's actually yours. Alignment in practice is not going to be a massive overhaul. And personally, I hate massive overhauls. So I like that these are just small little decisions I can do internal check ins along the way, every day, every week, every month, whatever works for you. It's just a sense of relief that it's not that huge overhaul that a lot of people can suggest. It's not burning everything down every time something feels off or one little thing goes wrong. It's a question that you bring into every decision before you make your next move. And does the new direction still reflect what you set out to do? Does this content sound like me or does it sound like the person I was watching when I came up with this idea? Does this client, this offer, this collaboration, does it uphold the standard that I've set or does it start pulling me away from it? You don't have to treat every piece of outside input like it's gospel. So you can just let advice help you without letting it lead your whole business. And you can learn from what other people are doing without turning your business into a copy of theirs. And then when your work starts feeling a little bit muddy, a little bit heavy, that doesn't mean that you're on the wrong path. It might just mean that you need to come back to your own voice and see what's still there. Not every part of running a business is going to light your ass up either. And I know that you're not going to be passionate about your invoicing software, and that's fine. But the core of it, the problems that you're solving, the people you're solving them for, the experience you're creating, that has to stay connected to something true to you. Because when it doesn't, you feel it, and eventually so do your clients. The goal isn't to never change because you will. Your foundation shifts as you grow, and sometimes that's the right move for you. The difference is, though, whether the shift is coming from something inside of you or from chasing what's working for somebody else. So stay curious about that difference. Keep asking the questions. Don't let 6 months go by without checking whether the direction you're running in is still the one you actually chose. So I want to leave you with a few questions to sit with after this. Does this still feel like something I chose or something I just ended up doing? Do I trust what I'm building enough to stand behind it without needing somebody else to validate it first? And when I made my last big decision in this business, was I leading with my gut or just following what the data told me to do? I want you to sit with those today because the answers might surprise you. And if what came up is making you realize something needs to shift, please know that's not a crisis. You don't need to go buzz your hair off. That's just where alignment starts. So that is a wrap on today's episode of the Aligned Founder podcast. And now I want to hear from you, beautiful souls. What came up while you were listening? Where do you feel aligned right now? And where does something feel off? Drop a comment and tell me. And if there is a topic you want me to add to my lineup, send that my way too. If you find value in what I bring to your ears every single week, please like, follow, subscribe, share with a friend, all the things, you know the drill. And I will see you on the next one.